What's up, guys? Back at it again with another theory crafted build. We're going to be talking about skills, gear, and usage. It does not include any gameplay yet, but I can assure you that that is the first thing that I'm working on because I still need to get the warden leveled up. After playing it for about 2 hours, I come to realize that it's a very effective healer, not just for magic, but actually stamina. So getting into this, it is a medium armor stamina healer build. It's going to be running 5 medium 2 heavy. It's going to use sword and shield on the front bar, and it's going to use bow on the back bar. The only reason why you want to use bow on the back bar is so you can heavy attack from a range just in case if you need to. Otherwise you can run double sword and board so that way you can keep a very high defense on it. And getting right into it, the sword and board bar is your main heal bar. The first skill that we're going to use is Heroic Slash. This skill is here to slow the enemies, help your DPS be able to focus them down. It's going to reduce the damage that they do, so it's going to take some of the pressure off your tank having to spam his skill, but it's also going to give you minor heroism, which is going to give you more ultimate. This is going to be useful because you're not casting your Dawnbreaker, you're actually going to be casting your healing ultimate. It's only 75 ultimate, so the more you get, the better. Your main heal is going to be Soothing Spores. Now obviously the tooltips on this are a little low, and the reason why is because it's assuming that the character has 0 stats. But fully buffed, you can expect this to be, without crits, you can expect it to be around 10k. If you're healing an ally that's close to you, this heal is going to be 15% stronger. We're going to use Echoing Vigor because it's going to be a 15 meter radius. You're not necessarily worried about the healing on yourself because you can keep that up with the heals that you're casting on your group anyway. You just want to make sure that you touch your group. Green Lotus. We want this in the front bar because the passives is going to give us additional healing, if I can find it. Emerald Moss is going to give us additional healing for every green balance skill that we have on a tree. We're not putting the ultimate on this one though because Dawnbreaker is actually going to help us out a little bit better with that. But anyway, the skill makes your light attacks heal you or another ally for 1320. Your heavy attacks would do for 3960. It also gives you your major crit. And with this build, you're going to be running about 48 to 53% crit on it. Then Bird of Prey, it's going to give you major expedition, which you're going to want. It's also going to give you major endurance for stamina recovery, and we are stacking stamina recovery. We'll get into that in just a little bit. It's also going to give you minor berserk, increasing your damage done. But the way that this works also is kind of weird. It also increases the healing also for some reason. We're going to use Flawless Dawnbreaker because it's going to give us an additional 5% weapon damage, and it's also going to give us another percentage for having the bar or having the skill on our bar from the Fighter's Guild passives. Our back bar is mostly a buff bar. Getting into it, we're going to have Bullnetch. This is going to give you more stamina. It's going to give you major brutality. We're going to have Expansive Frost Cloak. We're not going to take the one that reduces our damage because we have another skill for that. But we want to make sure that everybody that we can touch 28 meters away is going to get their major physical and spell resist. This is going to help your healing and help people stay alive also. Energy Orb, it is pretty costly on the magic, but it's not too much of a problem. You're only going to cast it whenever the tank or somebody calls it out, really. It's going to allow them to activate a synergy. It's going to heal them for a little bit, and it will give them back 4k magic or stamina. The Altar, it does take a second for cast, but it does last 46 seconds. You're not going to use this all the time, but for longer fights, the healing on this does add up. It's going to put minor life steal on the enemy. So anybody that's attacking the enemy is going to get 600 health a second. And they can also... Oh, this one doesn't have it. I thought this had the synergy, but it doesn't. Oh wait, yes they can. They can activate the synergy to regain 40% of their health. Excuse me. We're going to use Ring of Preservation. This is from the Fighter's Guild tree. It is costly, but with our stamina recovery, that's not going to be a problem at all for us. For 20 seconds, Everybody that's inside of the circle is going to have 20% reduced dodge roll. So you want to put this right under the boss, so when the mechanic happens, they can dodge roll backwards. But it's also going to give everybody 8% decreased damage taken, and also give them 10% stamina recovery. Your main ultimate, which is Healing Thicket, it has a pretty good range. Lasts for 6 seconds, 75 ultimate, dirt cheap. But it's going to heal everybody for a massive amount, and then continue to heal again for another 4 seconds. So you don't want to put this on the front bar. You could, it's going to give you easier access to it, but by having Dawnbreaker on the front bar, between that weapon power and the passive from the Fighter's Guild, it's going to allow your Echoing Vigor, and it's going to allow your Soothing Spores to heal for a hell of a lot more. Getting into the gear, we're going to use 5-piece Powerful Assault. You're going to want to use 3 jewelry, and you're going to want to use the sword and shield from this set. There are a few ways that you can maneuver around on this. You can use 2 body for your heavy pieces, and you can use 1 jewelry, which would be healthy, and then you can use your 2 other jewelry, which we're going to be using Bone Pirate, but we'll get back to that in a second. You can use 2 Bone Pirate jewelry, which would be robust. And then you just need to make sure that your helm and shoulder of your monster set are going to be medium. That way you can still run 5 medium, 2 heavy, but this way you increase the amount of maximum stamina that you have, which would in turn increase your heals, and then help you increase a little bit of the damage that you are doing. I'm most likely going to run 3 Powerful Assault on the jewelry, and then the sword and board, and then the bow. The reason for that is I want a higher health pool. My recovery, I'm going to be relying on my recovery a bit more instead of a max stat. But this is going to give us health, max stam, weapon damage, and then whenever you cast an assault ability, which is going to be our vigor, it's going to give all of your allies 164 weapon and spell damage. Bone Pirate, this is a full medium set. It's going to be max stam, stam recovery, max stam, and then you're going to use a dubious drink. So that way, while you have that active, it's going to give you 2,000 stamina. This is actually incorrect, though. It's not 300 stamina recovery. It's actually 150. With your jewelry, you want 2 stamina enchants, or excuse me, 2 stamina recovery enchantments on your jewelry, and then 1 weapon damage. You do want some weapon damage with this build. You want to try to run around 23-ish, because it does make your heals stronger. The monster set that we're going to be using is Troll King, since one of our main heals is Vigor. This is going to help add another 1494 health recovery on top of your allies. So all the healing that you're doing from your main spam, your Vigor, the 600 they're going to get from the Minor Steel, the health that they get from you light or heavy attacking, your ultimate, on top of that, now you're going to give them another 1500 health every other second. So that's pretty major. As far as the Mundus Stone, you're going to want to run the 10% healing done Mundus. And then and same thing with your champions, you're going to want to focus on healing done, and then you're going to want to focus on weapon critical. Your damage and healing done by your weapon criticals. Some into mighty, because that would also increase the healing that you do. And as far as the green tree, you want to stack stamina recovery. You want to stack increased stamina return from heavy attacks. And then the red tree, you want to stack decreased damage from direct damage abilities. You want to do at least 10% into elemental defender, and I think it's called sturdy. I don't remember. And then you want to do healing received also, so that way you can make sure that you're getting the most out of it as well, because you don't want your character to be dying, in the middle of a fight. You can also run 10% or 5%, I would say 5 in healing received. Stack the rest of it into medium armor expert, so that way you can get an extremely high amount of resistances. Between that and your sword and board bar, even though that you're doing 5 medium and 2 heavy, you should be running about 25 to 26k resistances. You would be running about 2300 stamina recovery with this build. Alright guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. This build is created as a theory, so it's definitely open for discussion, but it will definitely work. Thanks guys.